everybody. Yeah, I had a good time with my daughter this weekend. We also made sugar cookies, little cutouts, which she enjoyed doing. So, welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 10. You're looking for tasks for U4L10. You can find it under assignments or on the weekly calendar on the homepage, campus homepage. Today's date is the 15th. We'll start off with our usual chat in breakout rooms. It's going to be more of a silly question today. The question is, what's your favorite breakfast cereal? And if you're not a breakfast cereal person, then like what's a breakfast food you go for? Are you like Pop-Tart, steel cut oats, oatmeal, like what is it? But mostly think of if you had a cereal brand, like if you're having a cereal party, which box would you be looking for as one you would want to have? Think about that for 20 seconds. And don't forget to say hi and check in with the person you're in the room with too. Rooms are open. We'll come back together in 2 minutes. For sharing, everybody. Next on the docket is just review of homework. You just had to make sure that you completed the classwork on, so the Ed puzzle about the ear, hearing, and balance, and the interactive ear investigation little quiz you had to complete while clicking through that website. The drawings look awesome. Here is Garrett Fernandez's. Awesome detail in the inner ear there. Let's see who's next. I think it'll be Jillian. Nicely done. Awesome use of color there. So anyway, I'll go look through these, but always fun to look through these drawings. You guys do some amazing drawing work. And the reading quiz looks great. It was all on the Hall chapter on smell and taste, which we're going to focus on today. Again, looks like 100%. I have 11 attempts and you're all getting these questions right. And I also got the correct answers. This was pretty cool. So if you watch this video, what does this guy have?
COVID.
He's got COVID-19. Apparently anosmia, which is the loss of smell, is a relatively common symptom of contracting COVID-19. And then we'll discuss more of that today, and we'll discuss more of this today. But if you want to become a sommelier, which is basically a wine expert, it is pretty insane the skills you have to have for both smell and taste, or gustation and olfaction. Any questions or comments on those homework assignments? Alrighty. Then, I hate to do this, but sticking with tradition, we've been sort of hitting the crash course human anatomy and physiology. I just think they have good videos on these things, so we got one more to do. You'll do an Ed puzzle of the crash course human A&P on smell and taste, once again with Hank Green. So there's, this one is just over 9 minutes long, I think 9 minutes, 15 seconds, and there are 8 questions associated with it. I'm going to put 15 minutes on the clock, but I'll keep an eye on your progress, and once you're mostly done, we'll come back together to review. As usual, there is an alternative Google form if Edpuzzle freezes or doesn't work for you. So otherwise, 15 minutes to work on taste and smell Edpuzzle. Let me know if you need help. Olfactory signals are sent to the olfactory cortex. So this wasn't meant to be a complicated question, though I know it can be a little confusing. What I find interesting about this is that it also loops through the emotion center of your brain, which is why, again, we often tie smells to certain feelings. Our ability to taste depends greatly on saliva. As we mentioned earlier, it has to be able to dissolve these things in. And it's something interesting that you can, if you do have very dry mouth, from like eating a lot of crackers or something out, eat something after that and you won't be able to taste it as well if you don't have any saliva left. How do our senses of smell and taste aid with digestion? Again, it's kind of like a cascade, right? That it's your body's way of becoming aware that you're eating, and so it kind of kickstarts the whole digestive process, gets your digestive juices flowing, adds more enzymes like amylase to the saliva. All pretty fascinating, I think. Questions or comments on that? All right. Just had a few fun things to show you then at this point. I don't know, I was just trying to find stuff that I found interesting about olfaction. So here is a website. Again, you can link to this on the task to complete list if you want, but this is the Master Sommelier Diploma Examination. You can literally sign up to take it, but obviously it's incredibly limited and hard, and there's all these different levels. But what I wanted to point out was at the very bottom, you can kind of read about the sommelier exam, but it's 3 parts basically, where you kind of have to just know the theory behind wines and grape varieties and things like that. Then there's practical, where you've got to actually act like a sommelier in a restaurant, right? You're the wine expert, you're making recommendations based on the food and talking to people about wine. But then what I want to talk about, what's relevant to what we're learning about, is the practical tasting test, where again, the examination score by the candidate's verbal abilities to clearly and accurately describe 6 different wines. It's usually 3 reds and 3 whites within 25 minutes. And this person must identify, where appropriate, grape varieties, country of origin, district and appellation of origin, and vintages of the wines tasted, meaning basically the year that it came from, which is insane to be basically given 6 glasses of wine and be able to say for each one, well, this one's 3 years old and it came from Italy, and this one's 5 years old and it came from California. I think it's nuts. So if you haven't seen the Somm documentary, here's just a short scene where this guy, he's preparing to take the master sommelier test, and so he's doing like a practice run, and just listen to the way he describes these wines.
Going over the flavor profiles.
Wine 1 is a white wine, clear, star bright. There's no evidence of gas or flocculation. The wine has a light straw core, consistent to green reflections in the edge, medium concentration of color. Aroma's coming out of like this lime candy, lime zest, crushed apples, underripe green mango, underripe melon skin, green pineapple, and palate. Wine is bone dry, really this like crushed slate and crushed chalky note, like crushed hillside. There's white florals, almost like a fresh cut flower, white flowers, white lilies, no evidence of oak. There's a kind of a fresh, like that freshly opened can of tennis balls, and like, seriously, and fresh new rubber hose, I get.
That's a new one, good, I like that.
Structure. Acids medium plus. Alcohol's medium. Complexity is medium plus. Initial conclusion, this one is from the New World. From a temperate climate, possible grapes are Riesling, possible countries are Australia. Age range is 1 to 3 years. I think this can only be one thing. This wine is from Australia. This wine is from South Australia. This wine is from Clare Valley, 2009 Riesling high quality producer.
Wine 1 is Clare Valley Riesling.
Good.
Isn't that crazy? It's totally nuts. How many of you would think you could do that or sign up for that test?
He's probably just making everything up.
It's what it sounds like, right? It's a great documentary. I think it's actually on Netflix. They've actually made 3 of them now. So the first one was Somm. Then the sequel, Somm 2, is actually a fascinating look at wine faking, like all these fake wines that have been made that people pay tons of money for, and it turns out not to be the real thing. And then the third one is, I think it's just looking again at how sommeliers work. But yeah, just nuts. And so, question to throw out to you all was, first, what did you notice about? And you might notice this if you've ever like seen the wine areas down here in Carmel area as well, and what people do there. Which sensory organ does he start off with? Like, what is he? He doesn't drink the wine immediately. What does he do? Yeah. And you notice he stuck his nose like right in the glass. I mean, literally just like all the way in. And again, that's because, anyone know, again, what, in terms of our ability to taste, it's actually mostly based on what?
Smell.
Yeah.
Like 80% smell.
Exactly. The reading says 80% smell, which is crazy to me. And so obviously, yeah, it starts off with smelling the wine and then does a quick taste. And that you can kind of hear him after tasting it, that he remarks more on like the acidity of it and that kind of thing, that's where you're going to get more from your taste buds, more so than from smell. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of fascinating. Next question was, how is he able to correctly identify where the wine was made and how old it is? So anyone know how did he do this? Like, how was he able to identify that wine was from Australia? What do you think he has spent his entire life, or at least since he was the age of hopefully 21, doing? Like, how would you think about it?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so these guys have to just basically try every single wine that there is, right? That's the thing. It's like I mean, it definitely comes from a unique ability for taste and smell. Like, I think you've got to be pretty good there, but it's more honestly, it's a studying thing. It's more just remembering, like, having had these wines before and categorizing in their brains, like, this taste is associated with this place and this taste is associated with this year. And again, it's baffling to me, but it is something that if you think about the way our brain works, is something you do all the time, right? You can hear song lyrics and identify an artist, or you can hear a voice of someone singing and say, oh, that sounds like this artist. So it's kind of just a similar mindset. It's all about association, but just massive amounts of training and knowledge, which is pretty crazy. So anyway, I encourage you to check out the documentary if you're curious about it. Questions or comments on that? To be a sommelier, as far as I know, they make good money. That's one kind of motivation behind this, is you then basically get hired by restaurants to recommend wines to people and get paid pretty well for that. So, okay, next thing relating to taste that I wanted to show you is an alternative. So it turns out your mouth and your tongue in particular is not only sensitive to taste, but will also react to other things. And I don't know if anyone's ever watched Hot Ones before, but I've always found this entertaining.
I'm now going to pretend, this is me as an actor, I'm now going to pretend I'm not in pain.
All right, well, let's see how that goes. This next one is the bomb.
How'd you get a chicken wing that looks like my granddad's big toe?
Wait till you bite into it. Tastes like your grandfather's big toe.
The bomb. Beyond insanity hot sauce.
This is the bomb.
Beyond insanity, it says. Seems like a good idea.
All right, you're just going for it.
Just dive in.
Now we're getting into real territory here.
This was articulate right out of the gate.
Kansas don't know how to do no hot wings.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Yeah. I feel it.
Did you feel heat?
I think I singed my eyebrow with that.
Shit. I'm now fucking crying over a fucking wing. My eyes are tearing, Sean. Tears of happiness, Sean. Oh my God, that's so hot.
I think I'm losing my mind. How long have we been here?
We've been here for 3 days.
I feel drunk on caliente sauce.
I feel like a damn breech birth. I feel like I'm fucking coming out backwards.
Hold on. My goddamn heart rate's about 130.
What do you take for this?
Almond milk.
What now? Is there anything else to eat?
We have some bread.
Is this cheating? Are people gonna call me out for cheating?
You know, just drinking wax out of this sex candle.
All right. Anyone here seen Hot Ones on YouTube before or watch it? It's an interview show. So what are they all reacting to? Why do they all appear to be in pain?
Spice.
Yeah, so it's just hot sauces that they put on there. Does anyone know the chemical that's in hot sauces that you react to? Go ahead, Molly.
Isn't it like capsaicin or something like that?
Yep, capsaicin. And it's not actually a taste or a flavor. It's literally activating your sensory system for pain and also for heat, for temperature. So you will literally start to sweat because your body thinks you're overheating, even though you aren't. It's just purely from stuff you're eating, which is pretty crazy. So your tongue not only has sensors for taste, but also for things like body temperature. So heat, menthol is the opposite effect. So if you've ever had gum that has menthol in it and it kind of makes your mouth feel cold, anyone had like chewed gum before and then you drink a glass of water and it feels like ice cold? It's the same thing happening. It's just the opposite reaction. It's activating your sensors for feeling cold. And it's not only that, there's other weird things that can occur. There's a pretty cool BBC article that I linked right below that, right here, called How Spicy Flavors Trick Your Tongue. So I just want to look through this on BBC. But they have a great thing about how, so you read in the reading about how we're sensitive to about 5 different tastes, right? Sweet, salt, bitter, sour, and umami. But there's other sensations. So they have this thing called Szechuan peppercorn, which has a chemical in it. It's located down here, I think, in this study that they did. Where do they mention it has a crazy name. I must have missed it here. But what it basically activates is your mechanoreceptors. Like it feels like something is touching your tongue, almost like fingers drumming on it a little bit. And so it has that sensation, like it comes out, I think, like a tingling sensation. So again, it's not only hot or cold that gets activated, but literally it can feel like there's something moving, which seems creepy to me. I've never had that before. But as you said, capsaicin binds to heat receptors on the tongue. Pretty cool close up here of the tongue. And again, your actual taste buds and stuff are actually below in the nooks and crannies of these. But yeah, capsaicin activates, makes you feel like you're overheating, but is also a pain receptor. And it turns out that capsaicin can actually be used to treat pain as well. That it's something that you become desensitized to over time, which is one thing why the guy who hosts that Hot One show, he eats all those wings with those people, and he doesn't react nearly as much anymore. Probably because again, it's basically just trained himself to not react to these hot sauces. So, questions, comments on that, Garrett?
So, if you have COVID or like you lose your sense of taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you still feel spice, or would that just be blocked as well?
So that's what's really fascinating about this. So this is the next thing you're going to do is go on to a reading about this. But they are finding that your ability to taste, like sense spice and stuff, is also blocked, which is why, again, it's so baffling. So it's not just anosmia. It's not just the loss of smell. It's also a complete loss of taste and a complete loss of all those other receptors. So like menthol, capsaicin, yeah, none of those seem to come through. So it's something happening on a neurological level, right? That the signals just aren't getting to the brain. So yeah, it's a complete loss of all of that. So once again, let's visit with this guy who you watched a little bit on the homework. So let's see. I don't remember if he eats a pepper here, but he does eat an onion.
What's going on, guys? I am currently COVID positive, and I can't taste anything. Everyone keeps telling me to try and eat like some nasty stuff, but I don't have any nasty stuff in my house. So I figured I'd just eat some stuff that would be strong or pungent or something, just to see what it's like. So here's an onion. Nothing. Shot of lemon juice. Nothing. And garlic paste. Oh, that would hurt.
And I think in one of his videos too, he eats a pepper at some point and has no reaction to it at all. So whatever's going on with COVID, it's a complete neurological block. What's interesting in his videos, though, is that he does seem to be feeling it in his sinuses. Like if you watch, he eats a spoonful of wasabi at one point, and he definitely kind of reacts to it. But I think it's more just up in his sinuses, not so much that he's tasting it. But there's a little reading that Mr. Olson found all about what's going on with this COVID stuff. So the best thing I thought of was to have you read through it and answer a few quiz questions. And so that's the final thing that we'll be doing today. On the tasks to complete list, this is step number 6. Go ahead and just click on that, the second bullet point there, the COVID smell loss. It'll take you to a Canvas quiz. There's a link to a Google Doc that has the reading, and just read through and answer the questions. And I recommend just read over a question, and then they're sequential. So as you're reading, you should be able to answer each one as you go. I'm going to time for, let's say, 15 minutes, and I'll watch your progress on Canvas, and we'll come back together to kind of reflect on it. And hopefully it'll answer some of your questions about what's going on with COVID and smell and taste. Let me know if you need help.